Okay, hi. So today I'm going to be doing a quick overview of Attack by Waldorf, which is a drum synth that I looked forward to before it came out for months. I got very, very excited about it. And then when it came out, I was very disappointed because I couldn't get the damn thing to work. So I thought I'd do a run-through video, partly so I could teach myself exactly how this thing works. It's not the most intuitive of interfaces, and as Doug pointed out in his video, it does require you to do quite a lot of hard work. My other caveat would be that all the noises that come out of this thing, they have a tendency to be quite harsh, so a lot of your time is spent reining it in, trying to get the sounds to be manageable. Anyway, I'm going to create a sound here, and we'll run through the various sections that make up Attack. So first of all, I'm just going to initialize all my sounds. I've got a couple in here I've been playing with, and I find the easiest way to create a sound is to create myself a little pattern with some different velocities in. Just so I can hear the effect of velocity on what I'm doing. So this is a default sound that comes with that is initialized when you create a new sound with Attack. Okay, so what we have in Attack is we've got these two oscillators here. They are identical, and underneath them we have the Oscillator Envelope section, which is also identical. So they really should draw a line around that block there and say that's one section. Over here we have this FM section that allows you to modulate Oscillator 1 by Oscillator 2. We'll come to that later. Then you've got the mixer section where you've got the volume on Oscillator 1, volume on Oscillator 2. You can mix those proportions. You can do that using an envelope and also velocity based. And there's also a ring modulator which will multiply the signal of 1 by 2. But in effect just makes the sound a little bit harsher and punchier. Down here you've only got two envelopes. If you're used to working with say seek beats, you're probably used to seeing more envelopes than this. By default, the oscillators are both using envelope 2 as their amp envelope, and so the modulation of the sound is normally done in envelope 1, but you can change them around any way you like. Over here we've got filter, so we've got high pass, low pass, a couple of band pass filters, a notch filter, and this sort of random filter here. Cutoff and resonance on the same button, so that's the resonance, that's the cutoff. Again, you can modulate that with the envelopes and by velocity. We've got this mod speed here. This is an LFO. It's a simple sine wave LFO that affects the filter, and you've got the depth that will work on as well. Over here we've got a drive, which is basically distortions. There's 4 different types of distortion. In the middle here we've got this crack section, which adds crack to the beginning of the sound. It actually adds like a tick, and this is the speed of the tick, and this is the number of ticks it's going to add, and that's the volume of the ticks it's going to add. So it's a little bit of crackle at the beginning of the sound. This hertz here goes right the way up into audible ranges, so it can actually add effectively some more FM to the sound. Over here we've got the effects section, the basic amp, and we've also got these 4 groups that allow you to create choke groups when you're creating a kit. Anyway, let's just create a sound. So I'm going to start off because Oscillator 2, the basic section of Oscillator 2 is the same as the basic section of Oscillator 1 without all this FM stuff. I'm actually going to start on Oscillator 2. So let's change that to Oscillator 2 and start off. Right, okay, so you probably know, but with drum synthesis, the thing that gives a drum synth its punchy sound and makes it simulate the hitting of a membrane is the fact that the sound starts off high and dips to low very, very quickly. And the quicker it does that, generally the more punchy and clicky the sound is. So I'm just going to set that to be a bit lower. I'm going to give it a bit more decay so we can hear what's happening here. now I'm going to put some envelope. This is envelope 1. Okay, so now you can now hear that it starts high and dips to low very quickly. And I can get that happen more slowly over here. Now, you'll notice that doesn't make a great deal of difference, because what's happening here is this is controlling how far down the sound goes between it starting and starting its decay. So actually decay is the important part of this. Okay, so if I now make that happen a bit faster. Oops, sorry. Okay, now I'm going to dip that down a bit until I have basically a kick drum sound. You'll notice I got some crackle when I was messing around with the velocity. I have noticed this. I don't know if it's I'm assuming it's a bug in Attack. Is when you're changing velocity settings, it can get a bit crackly while that's happening. But as soon as you let go of the velocity button, it stops. So I'm guessing that's just a bug. Okay, so that's oscillator 1. I'm going to add in oscillator 2 now. I'm going to make that a sine wave also. Actually, no, I'll make that a square wave. And let's go over to oscillator 1. Alright, now I'm going to mix them in together. And I'm going to change using the envelope here. Using envelope 1, that's how they're going to mix together. I'm using the envelope to do the mixing and also add a bit of velocity to that. No, you can't really hear a great deal at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the ring mod. And you can hear that adds a little distortion, a little grunt to what's going on. I'm just going to change that oscillator. Now over here in this section I've got some FM which I can also add. So I can FM one by the other. I can do that using envelope as well, and also adding some velocity. And this is quite good because it means that with the velocity you can add a load of FM punch at the beginning of a sound. I'm really not liking that square wave. Okay, now this key track here means that you can, if you're bringing up something that's melodic, there's an optional keyboard that comes with this, and the key track means that you can, depending on how far up the keyboard you are, it's going to alter the level of envelope and velocity, in the same way that we're doing with velocity itself. So it allows you to modulate the sound along the keyboard. Right, over on this side now I've got filters, so I'm going to put on a low pass filter there, add some resonance. Okay, and now I'm going to see if I can add some crack to the beginning of this. This is the speed of the, basically the speed between the ticks, if you like. And this is the number of ticks that's going to happen. I'm probably filtering most of that out, so. If I turn that up full and make this into an audible range, you can now hear I'm effectively adding sort of a frequency modulation almost on there. and that goes right up to into the audible ranges, but I'm going to take that right back down again to about there, to about 20 hertz. Just have a little bit of crack at the beginning. Okay, and now I'll put the filter back on. Making all that redundant. Oh, there we go. Now the filter, I can modulate the filter using envelope here, and I can choose either envelope 1 or envelope 2. That's optional, so whichever one I want to choose. And you can hear there I'm the velocity of while I'm doing it. That because I've got velocity, high velocity notes here, you can hear the velocity is now modulating the filter also. And over here I've got this mod speed and mod depth. What I can do, if I click sync on, I find it's more helpful, and I'm going to sync down to per 1 bar. That's 1 bar for a sine cycle. And add some. Now you can hear I'm modulating my signal across a bar in a kind of sine wavy way. But that's also, we've also got the velocity modulation on there as well, so it's giving us a nice variation. Right, now down here I've got 4 different types of distortion. The first 3 simulate various types of distortion that can be created by different circuitry, and the 4th one here, this does something crazy with sinusoidal distortion that's really, really harsh. The one with the hammer is the really harsh one. So if I try some of these, this is my distortion. I think that one there is a tape distortion. And this one here takes you into the realms of white noise pretty quickly. So this is one you have to really watch because it's a very heavy distortion. We'll keep it on that one now, I think. Okay, now over here I've got 4 different effects. The effects section is actually quite interesting. If I take you to the effects page, we've got a surprisingly good equalizer. You've got delay, equalizer, drive, phaser, flanger, chorus, phrase, vocoder. So let's have a look at the phaser there. And let's try delay on that. Now, each of these can be run independently. This one here is the phrase vocoder, which takes words that you type in and then applies each syllable to each note in the bar. It's you have to play around with it quite a lot, but that can be quite an interesting effect also. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there, and this is another feature. This is another thing I've noticed, is that sometimes the phrase vocoder takes a while before it starts working. So I've just cut out a chunk of this video here where embarrassingly the phrase vocoder wasn't working, but actually it seems to have kicked in now. So pants are there. So if I play this again, now obviously these sounds I've got here are too short. You to really make out what's going on, but it's nice because it adds a certain vowel-y, vocodery modulation to the sound I've got going through. All of these effects over here can be chained one after the other, so at the moment I've got them all running independently. So this one's EQ. The second effect. Now it seems to be stuttering fancy death much better than it was before. You can chain any of these to each other, but I have noticed if you chain anything to the vocoder at the end, that is really what we're trying. So let's just try chaining the first 3. If I go to 3 now, that's just giving me delay. If I go to 2, it's giving me a phaser delay. If I go back to 1, chain them all together, it seems to stop on a single sound. So I'm guessing that's how each would So there's quite a lot to play with. There's quite a lot of flexibility in here. You can create an awful lot of sounds. As I was saying before, though, the real trick seems to be reining the sounds in to make them usable, because there's a lot of distortion here. There's the FM with the ring modulation. There's a lot of stuff that can make the sounds really quite hard work on the ear. So there we are. That's Attack for you.